Thank you so much for coming to the Hear from Peers, April 22nd. Thank you, Dr. Seung Yoon, who will present today. So Dr. Seung Yoon is a president-elect for the Academy of Human Resource Development from 2022 to 2024. His research focuses on improving employees and organizational performance through connecting leadership, learning or knowledge sharing, and technologies. To do so, he passionately applies frameworks of social capital, network science, and data analytics. He served 2 terms as an associate director editor for the Human Resource Development Quarterly Journal from 2015 to 2022. So, Dr. Yoon, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. I know it's a busy Monday, and everybody is so busy with trying to finish the semester strong. So I will jump right into my presentation. I watched the previous videos to get a better understanding of what this series is about, and I titled my presentation as Elevating Quantitative Computational Research Method Skills to the Next Level Social Science. And so everyone is talking about AI, and this is a huge topic. And I thought about what can I cover within the 15 minutes, and maybe still from coming from social science and teaching doctoral courses, maybe which part should be we should focus on human aspects and how we can leverage AI in the class will be focus on my presentation. So to give you a little bit of a background, I wrote my dissertation using qualitative study, but I took a lot of statistics to figure out how can apply like a quantitative research to my research. And I've been teaching over 20, this is my 23rd year, and I joined A&M to build like a strong curriculum specialization in computational method, because after about 10 years plus years of applying statistics, it was not really giving a good answer about like how learning performance can improve. And if you look at how what we do every day, it's all about who we work together. And so that got me interested into social network analysis and got into machine learning. And this is these are subjects I've been studying over the last like a dozen years before people started talking about AI. And so just one like a background, I worked as an IT like a project manager at the University of Illinois. At that time, I didn't know how my like experiences working together with the computer programmers and network administrators would be really helpful for my academic career. But if a couple of things I strongly believe is because Texas A&M, my department, my program is one of top 3 like a doctoral PhD programs in the country. And one good advice I got is people see the same thing, but doctor as a researcher, PhD, you have to think like a photographer. You have to capture like the most clear image photo when people see the same thing. And Armando, thank you for the introduction. I just we had a conference in DC this year for the Academy of Human Resource Development. After that, I became a president. So I believe like this is all about sharing and learning. So our field, I'm sure this is true to many other disciplines, used to be very traditional, clearly defined. When people talk about HR, like usually people think about hiring, like promoting compensation performance. But under the big umbrella of HR, there's a management side from the business school, IO psychology, and there's a development side, like learning, career, and organizational development. That used to be like what we did for talent development in HRD. But these days, every workplace is changing. So starting from recruiting, onboarding, hiring, performance, promotion, job rotation, career experiences, retention, and turnover. And as you can see, a new phenomena comes out every year almost. And it's hard to, whether it is a quiet quitting, hybrid, remote work, or career path, career portfolio, and generation gap, shared leadership, it is like a perplex and complex, very challenging to understand how to do research on these various phenomena. And interestingly, I throughout my whole career, like my passion has been on good assessment because we do a lot of great interventions. Learning development professionals, educators, teachers do a lot of work, but when it comes to measuring true impact, good impact, it's very challenging. And because this has been mostly like a conventions, how people used to do things, when it comes to assessment, usually what happens is people do a survey at the end of the course, at the end of the program, and get qualitative responses. And usually the challenge is it focuses on one program when the reality is like also these kind of assessment assume you don't know the other respondents. So the independence assumption to me has been ridiculous. Like the interdependence, the influence of the structure system, how do we measure? And so I will tie these efforts to using how I apply AI in my courses. So over the years, I gave you a little bit of a background because sometimes people do AI research, computational method, like talk like or communicate like a traditional qualitative and statistics survey research are different, but they build on those foundations. But when we have a lot of data, messy data, then sometimes it's hard to make that connection. But thanks to my IT project manager background and database, like designing management background, over the years, like I saw and I can see how behind the scene, all these, like whether it is a data component or technology component, are interconnected. And so today I will focus more on social network analysis and machine learning because those two are topics that are I am teaching through my graduate like a program, but the screen shows like behind the scene, NLP, text mining, simulation. These are key like techniques, method under the umbrella term of computational social science. And my plan is to continuously, either for me developing courses or hiring like a faculty, continuously improve our resources in this area. I always teach my students with a real world, authentic, like work practice example. So social network analysis is used a lot in Amazon, at Microsoft. So during the COVID, they looked at like how team interaction across team within the team changed and how it affected team performance. And so they found like a higher concentration density. In other words, you tend to interact more with the people you know, and you like the amount of interaction with the bridging players or like across other teams got reduced so much. It attracts like a student's interest. Of course, network data can be collected through calendar, teams. So as long as anyone interacts or spends time together with another person, and you can add many attributes, whether it is a same team, different team, work experiences, projects, relationships, those can be incorporated into studying the network influence. And so I teach two graduate level, doctoral level social network analysis courses. And I will be teaching this as a new course called Workforce and People Analytics. So the thing is, when it comes to HR issues, whether it is turnover or retention or persistence or academic in education, we measure different constructs, but the intention and needs is the same, whether it is a student learning performance or persistence. There are lots of variables that affects those outcomes. So it can be individual characteristics, group characteristics, task characteristics or leadership characteristics. When you have 40, 50 variables, hundreds of variables, and when you have like a lots of records, then the traditional inferential statistics, sensitivity, probability, the design suffers from many challenges and weaknesses. But if you apply machine learning, then there are many ways. I will show you different examples how it can be superior and more effective than one specific statistics. But the challenging reality is when you try to cover this new subject, there are many different concepts and techniques to cover. So in machine learning, for example, even though it is very beneficial to run multiple analysis at the same time, and instead of analyzing one coefficient controlling other variables, it is possible to compare the which variable is more effective and which method is superior, whether it is a decision tree, support vector machine. I will not I don't intend to scare you with these jargons, but reality is when the situation phenomena is complex, you have to look at multiple variables. There are ways to do that. So whether it is a confusion table, which it provides different indicators such as the overall model accuracy, sensitivity, or recall, like a false positive, false negative, or the model performance area under the curve. There are many new concepts, and I find using like a generative AI to as a tutor to explain this like a process or explain new concepts to be extremely helpful. And so this couple of examples, I will be quick, but these are some of the projects I did, such as web scraping and analyzing job descriptions, qualifications for HR professionals using LinkedIn data. And so I see people analytics, HR analytics, as an overarching theoretical, conceptual, practical framework for the under big scheme of explainable AI, because AI is changing, but actually people who study the AI, been studying AI, knows that there's a supervised learning, unsupervised learning, neural network, and there are like a method and concepts that are applied to this big umbrella. And so in the class, when we have these many messy data, different data, providing a good framework for students to think and see how it applies and how to choose, how to prioritize is like a big aha moment for students. And so, and also when there are parts that are not explained clearly about like which part are closely still related, because when we talk about good data analysis, you have to know where good data, messy data come from. And actually 70, 80% of the real work will be done onto the cleaning part. And so thanks to, again, my IT background, I can explain to the students, and I went through and I can access like a project examples, material resources, and I try to introduce those into the class. So what you see here is the overall like a project process. I bring client projects into my courses, and so have couple meetings throughout the semester and consult them. So what problems are you trying to solve? And so what are like dependent variable outcome? What are causality? And what kind of data do you have? And what can you analyze? And what insights, action items can you find? And so these are kind of like overall process how I design and implement the course. And this map you see is like when you have multiple possibilities, multiple investments, multiple drivers, then by step through process and using ChatGPT, like they can sometimes without being intimidated, look at and see what this is explained by ChatGPT. So just I saw how previous sessions talked about prompt engineering. I will not go into details about repeat those, what transform is or what prompt engineering is. But in order to really have a hands-on and working knowledge, meaning of vectors, matrices, and space dimension and linear algebra, like a basic concept, is very important because what this probability generative AI does is spinning out result next words based on what you have. And when people talk about parameters or like a size and performance of the model, so for example, like a ChatGPT has 96 layers and close to 12 like a K parameters, neural network, then there's a similarity like compared to factor analysis. And the more like adjacent and attention model, so like a co-occurring words happening together, then it will increase the chance for what the next word will be. So in other words, if you translate, think a little bit more, then in other words, if your input is poor, if your input doesn't have much information, then the chance for getting good specific answer will go down. And many people mistakenly think like this generative AI is similar to search result. And so once they find something good outcome to their satisfaction, they stop there. But the more you refine, continuously interact with a generative AI, then you are learning, like and looking for another information, refining what you see, continuously improves. And so in the course, like this is just an example, social network analysis. Creating a good research purpose questions are always challenging. I have my students revise those based on searching the literature. But this is one example. So if you know, like once, if you don't know what you don't know, you cannot ask a good question. And so think about like where network analysis can apply or generative AI apply. Ask that question to ChatGPT. And for this, the more you specify, okay, this is your role, this is the context, this is the outcome we desire, and this is maybe problems, specific needs you have to address. And so I asked this question, okay, so what are the common areas? They say network analysis is useful for communication, collaboration, and interaction. What questions, what relationships are important? Let's say this is a manufacturing industry or cybersecurity. Like a ChatGPT will give you a result. Okay, you do this in order to hire a researcher. Then like define, give a good example of a poor performance, good performance, high performance. Then like create, summarize it as a table. Then generative AI is very useful. So these are examples where I have been using generative AI for different purposes, whether it is creating a table, like a title or labels, job descriptions, drafting competency models, or like as a coach or drafting instructional teaching objectives. But the more I use, then I see there are some other areas I haven't used a lot, but maybe can use, apply more, such as like scale development, prototyping, productization, scale validation. ChatGPT will never give you an expert answer, but something you don't know. If there are a lot of contents you think are out there already, then these generative tools are very useful. So for example, like teaching Python R has been a challenge. Maybe, I don't know, like whether we have colleagues from engineering, but in the College of Education, this has been my struggle. And so in those courses, before using generative AI, I gave all the like external resources, tutorials for beginners, intermediate, and advanced, and had them learn about those through external resources or using resources available on campus. But with the ChatGPT, by the way, before I like share how I approach this, like this took me, didn't come just in a year or two preparation. It was has been a long journey studying statistics, data science, network analysis, social capital, and like the more you know what is out there, then it doesn't mean it makes you an expert. Like it teaches you better what is next. And so expertise comes through, you have to study, you have to know a lot. And because when you know a lot, you know more, you can ask a better question. but this like book knowledge, like a course knowledge doesn't translate to application unless you do apply it to research or projects. And sharing that component, whether it is with the practitioners or community, I cannot emphasize more. And so I started using it more gradually. Like this is all new because generative AI has been out in the market for only 2 years. And so when I taught last year, I adopted another platform where it is just an AI supported platform to search and ask and respond, but it didn't quite work out well because my doctoral students, they are not like undergraduate, they are busy and their tech comfort is not as quite receptive and active about using these tools. And so my plan is teaching this for the same course is I plan to use either have them choose ChatGPT, Claude 3, or A&M started supporting Copilot with like working together with Bing Edge. And so there's a link there. I can share my slide after this presentation. And there are many amazing tools, such as like a protection. You want to share your information, then there are I just came back from a conference and I got the resource. So there's a Google Colab Jupyter Notebook, and you can copy paste your prompt, and then the result is the same, but it is not using the whole big model. And so there's a lot to cover, but this is my last slide. These days, a lot of talk is about prompt engineering. I don't know whether I like the term or not. It's rather when ChatGPT came out, prompting was new and prompt engineering was the term. But these days, maybe people who use this generative AI a lot may not see this as an engineering, maybe prompting process. But there are a lot of good resources about how to ask good questions. And so this one, LinkedIn Learning, is available through Texas A&M. And so this is one great video. There are many frameworks, and I put a couple others there. And so it basically it helps you generate, write, and keep improving your prompt to be more relevant, specific, roles and tasks, and go through the iterative cycle of getting feedback, giving feedback. So I think this is the last slide, and I will stop my presentation here. And hope today's the presentation could be useful, helpful, and I look forward to having a conversation, question and answer.